With oil prices in record territory and predictions for the price of gas to go even higher, few would argue the tremendous impact energy has on all our lives, and nowhere more than right here in Oklahoma. On the upside, the booming oil and gas business has in many ways protected our economy from the recession that's gripped our nation. In fact, a recent Forbes magazine article named Oklahoma City the most recession-proof city in the country. Yet there is a downside. A trip to the gas pump is downright painful these days. The high price of oil has pushed up the price of a host of consumer items, including food. For the next 2 weeks, we're going to take an in-depth look at the future of fuel and what it means for our state. And there's no better place to begin than with the leaders of Oklahoma's oil and gas industry. Here's our Brian Benderlin.
Once again, oil prices reach all-time highs as states all across the U.S. are beginning to feel the heat. And even though Oklahomans may feel a pinch at the pumps, the state's economy is booming thanks to the fuel industry.
And that's one of the real benefits for Oklahoma is we do have the oil and gas, which is a counter-cyclical type product, and we're not seeing the downturn that they're having in the other parts of the country. The solutions to our energy problems are really quite simple because they're right in front of us.
Chairman and CEO of Devon Energy, Larry Nichols, was one of many experts who spoke at an energy conference in Oklahoma City and says he understands the impact Devon Energy has on the state.
If you just talk directly about Devon, we've got about 1,400 people here in Oklahoma City that we employ, more outside the city, 5,000 overall, headquartered here. That creates an awful lot of economic wealth and economic growth because those people are out there buying houses and going to restaurants and buying cars, and it just creates a lot of prosperity that Devon and the other oil and gas companies in Oklahoma City are doing.
Showing record growth, Devon's net income was worth $749 million last quarter. However, Devon isn't the only company seeing success. Chesapeake Energy is the third largest independent producer of natural gas in the United States and credits much of its success to technology.
Horizontal drilling has been the big breakthrough, and the application of new stimulation techniques, and of course a lot of geoscience technology and understanding how these reservoirs produce.
Senior Vice President of Production Jeff Fisher says this has allowed the company to acquire gas from areas not typically high in production.
Specifically with shale plays in the U.S., we think there's an opportunity to actually grow production, and we think the future's very strong.
What we look for is structure, a wrench fault, and a thrust fault.
Sandridge Energy CEO Tom Ward says new technology was extremely critical in locating reserves in the West Texas Overthrust, a natural gas bed encompassing 1.3 million acres.
The field that we have could not have been discovered without 3D seismic, and that's only been in the last 20 years that we've been able to develop the opportunity to shoot 3D seismic where we have, and even in just the last few years and every year going forward, the computer capacity for being able to image these 3D images continues to grow.
Yet the big push for the future will not be how natural gas can be found, but how it will be used. As more and more wells begin to emerge, the opportunity to replace oil becomes an actual possibility.
Well, I think it's very practical that over time we're going to have to find a way to use less oil and to use more natural gas, because it's our opinion as an industry that we can produce more natural gas, and as we're seeing that the oil is a little bit harder to find.
Which is why many experts feel natural gas can be used in transportation. CEO of BP Capital, Boone Pickens.
It's cleaner, cheaper, and it's a domestic fuel. And you say, oh my God, if I'd known that, I'd have bought a load of it myself.
70% of oil used in the U.S. goes directly to transportation, and with oil estimated to reach $150 per barrel, natural gas becomes very appealing. But there is a catch.
There's 7 million cars and trucks on natural gas in the world today, and we only have 150,000 of them. What does that tell you? That tells you we're behind. We're way behind.
And according to experts, it takes situations like the current economic downturn in order to change perceptions.
Economics always change people's mind, and if you could fill up your gas tank for $5 instead of $55, that's something you'll do.
An opportunity making Oklahoma and natural gas as the potential starting point for the future of fuel.
So I have to ask, what's it going to take to get us where these oil and gas people want us to be?
Well, let's remember that the natural gas technology is already out there in the pumps. It's already available. However, the economy scale is not quite financially feasible for it to happen. We don't have enough pumps out there. There's not enough demand for it to actually go into production. And until we change it, until we look at Brazil and some other areas and see how they're getting their natural gas and how they're using it in their cars, we're kind of at a standstill.
Well, if there's any motivation out there, it has to be the prediction of $200 a barrel oil by the end of the year, which would translate to about $6 a gallon gasoline. It's got to motivate some people to do something different.
Well, you would think so. I mean, that is the highest estimate. We could see $150 this summer easily. But the thing that we have to keep in mind, a lot of times it's out of the oil and gas producers' hands because we're importing 72% of that oil. And until we don't import that much oil, it's going directly to the pumps because 70% of that oil we import is used in transportation.
Now I have to ask you about biofuels. Do the oil and gas people, how do they figure them fitting in?
They figure a very small part. There's a big concern with the food versus fuel, and they feel like biofuels that can be used by waste products could be very easily used in a lot of areas, and they think that anything to reduce the dependency on foreign oil is beneficial. However, they want to push that natural gas would be the easiest transferable and the most likely to be used in cars today.
And that's certainly a push that would be good not only for these companies, but for our entire state.
Definitely for our entire state, as Oklahoma is one of the leading producers for natural gas and has the three major industries here in the state.